while I'm running the country.
Right.
And now that
was another redhead who said that, not me.
I understand it. But to me,
yes.
To me, that's a lie. So I'm thinking to myself, our politicians that are running the country at the moment are liars, because both Mr. Swan and also herself said there would be none. And
Carter,
that's a lie.
Carter, do you think some backdoor deals have been done with this, with the Greens over it? So something's happened. She says that before the election.
Mm-hmm.
She's not my Prime Minister. I didn't vote for her. She's there by default as far as I'm concerned. She never got the majority of the votes in this country. And I'm absolutely disgusted that she's over in America standing on the floor of Parliament to praise herself when Australians are in dire straits. We've got the floods going on in Queensland, so she's spent the money to actually fly over there. Again, how many carbon emissions? You know, and so anyway, you know, she should be back here and answer to the people of Australia about this carbon tax and make it quite clear what impact it is going to have on us, and start getting it together and start paying out the monies in this country so people who are absolutely destroyed, their lives are destroyed through the floods and the cyclone that's hit Queensland. And she's out there doing an address to in Washington. I cannot believe that. Where's her heart? Her heart is not with Australia. It's somewhere else. And I've got no time for her.
Okay, my thought is similar. I can't find that a lot of the things that she comes up with and that followed Mr. Rudd's policies, a lot of these things didn't work at all. They were very dangerous in many aspects. 4 people died from one of the things that didn't work. And I don't have the confidence in the government today that I should have the confidence in that I've had in governments in the past. Because you and I come from a different era, but I come from an era even before you, whereby one of the greatest politicians in my estimation, and I've said this many times, Ben Chifley.
Oh, yes.
Ben Chifley looked ahead. He had foresight. And he said, we're going to need water in times to come. So he organised the Snowy River scheme. Now, none of them are looking after our tomorrows nor your grandchildren.
Do you know Ben Chifley never expected to be Prime Minister?
Yeah.
And he actually was an engine driver.
Exactly.
And he was thrown into the position. And what a marvellous job that he actually did. And he's a grassroots Australian, and that's what it's all about. You know, what we have now, and people entering Parliament, are career politicians.
Oh, exactly.
They're lawyers.
Exactly.
They have not been out and spoken to the grassroots Australians. And see, that's why I'll never forget where I've come from. You know, an early marriage, children, first child at 17. And just going through it and running small business, my own business, and of course the media love to have a go at me and say fish and chip shop, you know, from fish and chip shop. It's just, how dare she want to enter Parliament, be on the floor of Parliament, as if I have no right and I haven't got a university degree.
Can I just put in there, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt your train of thought, but I have said this. I have said, and my belief is this, you were such an upstart to even think that you had the right to a position in the big boys club.
Yeah, but I didn't think that at the time.
I understand that, but I'm just saying this is what they thought about you.
I came into this so naive, and I thought, no, hold a minute, I have an opinion, and express it. And you know that when I was actually with the Liberal Party as a candidate in 1996, I actually went to one of their meetings, and it was John Moore, who was the minister at that time. No, he wasn't minister. He became a minister afterwards when Howard won the election in 1996. That he said to one of the candidates, sit down, shut up, you know nothing, we know everything. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute, I'm not going to be here as a yes person for anyone. And I thought, that's not how I saw politics. But my father told me, he said, my grandfather was actually part of the Labor Party, and I didn't know that. And he was on the executive of the Labor Party in Queensland. And Dad said, why are you doing this? He said, politics is a dirty game.
Ooh, but there's 2 words there, dirty and a game. To them, it's a game.
And it's control.
It's
they
a
want
power
to
game.
Control.
A control and power game.
And that's what happened when I came on the scene, and I garnished the support, and especially to take the seat of Oxley in 1996, which the which was the only seat in Queensland when Gough Whitlam was thrown out. It was the only seat that the Labor Party held. And Bill Hayden had the seat for about 27 years, and another Labor fellow, Scott, had it for another 7.5 years after that until I won it. And I won it at the 1996 election with the biggest swing in the nation. And that was a hell of a shake-up to both political parties, and especially when I went on to form One Nation and won 11 seats in Parliament, in the Queensland Parliament. And that's when they saw how much of a threat I was. And that's why now, back on the scene again, it happens every election. Have a think of it. 2003, when I actually, no, it started in 1998, and after the state election, when they knew I won 11 seats, it was Tony Abbott who then started the process
to put you in jail.
That's right.
Yeah, I've said that.
And going through that. So Tony Abbott started that in 1998. And then in...
Can I just, sorry, please excuse me for butting in. A lot of people would be under misconceptions as to why it was that you were put in jail. Can we come back and talk about that just a moment? Because I've got some information to come.
Yeah.
Thank you. Pauline Hanson is my guest tonight.
Anything can happen, and usually does, with Carter Edwards. The Carter Edwards Show on the Super Radio Network.
Okay, Pauline Hanson is my guest in the studio tonight. It was by chance that I met her today at the rodeo, and I invited her to come in and talk to me if she wanted, and she said yes. Now, in fairness to everybody else that's trying to become elected, anybody else out there that would like to be part of the program, all they've got to do is give me a call and let me know when it is you want to come in, or do it on the phone. There's the fairness of it. Any party at all. It's rare that I've ever had any politicians that were willing to come on the program with me, probably because if they were partially responsible for the problems and the wrongs that we have here, it would be an uphill grind for them. Well, maybe that's so. But the answer we want from this question, if you've got the answer, let me know. Well, there it is, Pauline Hanson. That's the question that we want answered.
Oh, so do I. So do I. And I just, it feels like I get goosebumps over me when I hear that about the great Australian dream. And I go back to my childhood and the country that it was, and it just seems so much easier then, maybe in a child's eyes. But no, even when I was in my 20s, it just seemed so much easier then. I look at the kids today and I think, are you ever going to own your own home? Do you have job security? Have you got think that you're going to have decent health care and all the rest of it? I think it's so much harder these days. I really do.
I just get the feeling that my perception, and in my humble opinion, is that everything from police to transport to hospitals to everything that is not working, it's been a concerted effort to break down the necessary things in our society.
That's the general feeling with everyone. That's how I feel as well. And what I don't know. Look, I'll tell people out there, I'm only one person, and I'm not making promises that I can change and make your world so much better at all. What I can say is that as a member of Parliament on the floor of Parliament, I can call for accountability. I can tell you things that you're not being told now. And I think that the parliaments and the politicians keep so much from us. They're not informing us what's going on. It's like the sale of the electricity, the privatisation. How much did anyone know? And Christina Keneally comes out and says, I'll say no to the privatisation of water. I have known that is going to be on the cards, and I spoke about it in 1996, and I said to people years ago, do not buy water tanks from the government. Get your rebate from the government, because they will come back and want to tax you on that water. It was under Agenda 21. I knew that. I spoke about it. Fellow from America, he said to me, Pauline, you are right to oppose the privatisation of water. He said it was privatised in America, and he said the companies who own it, they then dictate where industries and manufacturing and development go, and housing, because they own the water. Nothing can happen without water. It is an absolute disgrace if this government or any government was